Hi, boys and girls. Today we're going to go over the OAA passage that you did, River to the Sea, and we're going to grade it together and see how you did. Okay, the first thing I want you to do is just follow along with me with your passage in front of you and follow along as I read the passage to you. I live beside the West River in Vermont. It's deep enough to swim in and as wide as a two-lane road. I fished and skimmed stones on the West River, but I didn't know where it began or where it ended. I decided to find out. Rivers often start in the mountains with no more than a trickle. Rain, melting snow, and water from springs have nowhere to go but down. As trickles follow the easiest paths down, they combine to form brooks. Brooks join to become streams, and streams meet to become rivers. As more and more water joins a river, it gets wider and deeper and faster. That's what happens to the West River. I followed a map to learn this. I drove into the wooded hills about 15 miles north of my house. I saw that the West River begins as a dribble, skinny as a pencil. By the time it reaches my town, it has become a river. Rivers work hard. They are great diggers. The swift current of a river is a watery shovel digging up pebbles, still, and sand. Rivers are also carriers. They carry lots of rocks and sand downstream. Rivers are great places to see fish, insects, and other wildlife. Lots of animals and birds live near rivers because there's a good food supply, plenty of drinking water, nesting places, and shelter. To see wildlife, I step quietly. I never know what might be around the next bend. A deer, a fawn drinking, a family of ducks, a dragonfly skimming the water, hunting mosquitoes. Rivers are a source of life to many creatures. Most rivers eventually open into the sea. Once again, I got into my car with a map, this time to see where the West River goes. I followed it through the countryside of southern Vermont to find that it merges with the wide Connecticut River. The Connecticut River flows out of Vermont, south into Massachusetts, then into Connecticut. It finally joins Long Island Sound in the Atlantic Ocean. The river outside my car is connected to faraway places. It's neat to know that if I launched a sturdy boat into the river by my house, someday it might finally reach the open sea. That's the best thing about a river. It's water on the move, and it knows just where to go. All right, boys and girls, let's take a look at these questions together. You're going to need a red pen. If you don't have one, go ahead and pause this. Go get a red pen and come back, and I'll be here when you're ready. For the multiple choice, we're going to go back and check out the questions. We're going to find the answers and fill in the correct answer. If you got it correct, just leave it alone. If you got it wrong, I'd like for you to circle the number and mark the correct answer. That's for the multiple choice. I'll explain what to do for the extended response when we get to those. Okay, number 36. Where does the West River begin? Okay, well, I'm not sure, so I'm going to take my red pen. I'm going to go look back in the passage and find out. Whoops, wrong button. Sorry, guys. Okay. Here at the beginning, it says that he lives by the West River in Vermont. Okay, and he said just north of his house, 15 miles north of his house, he saw that the West River began as a dribble. So I'm going to underline both. I live beside the West River in Vermont because that tells us the place. Then down here, it backs it up. It tells us that he drove about 15 miles north of his house. He saw that the West River begins as a dribble. Okay, so that tells us that the West River begins in Vermont. Okay, if you got that correct, just leave it alone. If you got that one wrong, I want you to circle the number up here and then mark Vermont. Okay, let's go on. Okay, number 37. According to the selection, how does a river become wider and deeper? Okay, I remember seeing that. It said wider, deeper, and faster. How does it do it? A, by carrying lots of rocks downstream. B, by adding more water from streams. C, by moving very slowly. D, by joining sounds and C's. Let's go back and find out. I think it's by adding more water, but I'm going to double check my answer because we always double check our work. Okay. And I'm looking for those words, wider, deeper, and faster, because I remember okay. Oh, as more and more water joins a river, it gets wider and deeper and faster. So what's our answer? More water joins the river. So that's going to be number 37 is B. If you got it wrong, circle it and mark B. If you got it right, just leave it alone. You don't need to put anything. Number 38. I live beside the West River in Vermont. It's deep enough to swim in and as wide as a 2-lane road. I've fished and skimmed stones on the West River. What phrase in these sentences is a simile? Okay, a simile compares something to something else. So I really don't even need to look back in the passage if I know what a simile is. Let's check out these answers and see which one it is. A, beside the West River. That tells where it is, but does it compare two things? B, deep enough to swim in. That tells us more about it, but it doesn't compare it to anything else. C, as wide as a 2-lane road. Okay, well that tells me how wide it is by comparing it to something I might know about. So I'm thinking it's C, but I'm going to read D as well because we always read every answer. D, fished and skimmed stones. That tells what you did in the river, but it doesn't compare it to something. So our answer has to be C. Okay. Number 39, what are two effects of the river's swiftly moving current? Okay, so I'm going to go back and look for the words swiftly moving current. I'm going to skim through and see if I can find it. Okay. Okay, right here I see that rivers work hard. They are great diggers. The swift current of a river is a watery shovel digging up pebbles, salt, silt, and sand. Okay, so they dig up, that's one response. Whoops, sorry guys. That's one effect of the swift moving current. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type that on this line for you. Let me go back and check that again. Okay, it says they dig up pebbles, silt, and sand. Whoopsie. Pebbles, silt, and sand. That's one of the effects of the swift moving current. Oh, goodness gracious, sorry. Okay, let's see what else. It says they are also carriers. They carry lots of rocks and sand downstream. Okay, so that's our second answer right there. Carry rocks and I want to make sure I write and sand. Oops. Okay, I'm going to quickly look back and see if there were any other responses that would have been correct. Okay. Okay, I'm not seeing anything, so I'm going to go on. For the extended response, boys and girls, I want you to I don't want you to write the correct answers down. I just want you to put a check mark next to A if you think that your answer will work there, and next to B. If you think your answer was incorrect, circle it. I'll double check these, but I want to see what you think, if you think you got those correct or not. And also it's important to remember, you can have these in the opposite order. That's okay. All right. Number 40, why did the author write this selection? A, to encourage us to take part in water sports in rivers and streams. B, to entertain us with tales of his boyhood fun by the river. C, to tell us what he learned about a river from its beginning to its end. Or D, to explain how a river becomes polluted and endangered. Well, he was teaching us about the river and what he learned about it, correct? So our answer would be C. Number 41. Which of these sentences is an opinion? A, as trickles follow the easiest paths down, they combine to form brooks. B, rivers work hard, they're great diggers. C, rivers are also carriers, they carry rocks and sand downstream. D, the Connecticut River flows out of Vermont south into Massachusetts, then into Connecticut. This one's a little tricky, but the answer would be B because the rest of them are facts. It tells us exact things about the river. B, not all people might think of them as great diggers or might not think that they're very hard workers. So B is our correct answer here. Okay. Number 42, complete the web with ways the river helps animals survive. Use information from the selection in your answer. Okay, so let's take a look back and we're going to find the different ways that a river helps animals survive. And I know I remember seeing that, whoopsie, again, at the end of the passage. I'm sorry, boys and girls. Okay, let's take a look back, okay? Okay, it says lots of animals. I see it right here in this paragraph. Lots of animals and birds live near rivers because they're good food supply. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to go back and I'm going to write that. Are a good food supply. Okay? All right, let's see what our next one is. Okay, there's plenty of drinking water. I'm going to go ahead and underline the rest. Nesting places and shelter. If you need to pause this to write down your answers, please feel free at any time to just pause this and write your answer and then come back to me when you're ready. Okay, let's go ahead and write those. Whoops. Okay. So there were a good food supply, plenty of water, nesting places, and shelter. Okay, take your time, write those down, check those over. If you have anything written down that you do not think is correct, I just want you to circle that box, okay? And then I'll know to go and check it, and I'll double check these for you. Okay, number 43. Which of these word pairs are synonyms from the selection? We know synonyms mean the same. A, dribble and trickle. B, wider and faster. C, rain and snow. D, diggers and carriers. Okay, the two that mean the same are dribble and trickle. Remember, circle the number and fill in the correct answer if you got that incorrect. If you got it correct, go ahead and just leave it alone. Okay, on the front of your passage, I'd like you to count up how many correct answers you think you got. Remember, the ones that are the extended response are worth 2 and 4 points. Okay, and I want you to remember these are the ones that are not marked. Okay, I want you to count up all the ones that are not marked and write that number on the front. And there is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 possible points. I'm going to double check this for you and I'll get it back to you so that we can mark it on your OAA prep sheet. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. Have a great day.